Lancashire's historic venue, Donington Park, is the venue for round 6 of the 2016 FIM Sidecar World Championship as the title decider returns to Great Britain. The race is the last of the 1000cc era, with 600cc outfits taking over from 2017. Their current series, the F2 World Trophy, was decided last time out in Germany. 20,000 fans packed into German Speed Week to see the final double race weekend of the 2016 campaign, round 5 of the series in Oschersleben. Championship leaders Pijverinter and Kynerleinen were fastest away from third position on the grid, but Reeves and Kloos moved back past around the opening turn to settle in behind race leaders Schlosser and Hoffer, the top positions remaining unchanged until the race was red flagged on lap 4, Smits and Verhagen crashing out from 12th. The teams reassembled in the order at the time of the stoppage for a second start and a shorter sprint distance to complete. The main battle in the restart was a three-way race for 5th. Streuer and Dalhusen held back by the Silicon Barnes Racing number 3 with John Holden and stand-in passenger Mark Wilkes. Ben and Tom Birchall tucked in behind. The Birchall brothers only needed second place in the F2 category to take the World Trophy. That target was further lightened when Bachmeier and Weschelberger crashed into the back of the spinning Gallern and Dealey and retired from the race. Ben and Tom now only needed to finish to secure the title. They stayed away from trouble as Streuer and Dalhusen finally cut past Holden and Wilkes on the final turn for 5th. The F2 World Trophy was decided with 2 races to spare. The World Championship chase reignited by Schlosser and Hoffer. After cutting the championship deficit to 17 points, the Swiss duo looked set to make further inroads as they pulled well clear of the battle for second position in the gold race. Pijverinter and Kynerleinen made 2 big overtaking attempts on Reeves and Kloos on laps 8 and 10, but dropped back once they encountered lap traffic. There was one last twist in the race as Schlosser and Hoffer came to a halt halfway through the final lap, ending their championship challenge for 2016, gifting the race win to Tim Reeves Racing on the rider's 44th birthday. The final podium positions are still to be decided in the F2 World Trophy, with 4 outfits still in contention and the title itself sewn up by Ben and Tom Birchall. Meanwhile, any kind of top 13 position will give Pijverinter and Kynerleinen the World Championship after their 8th consecutive podium finish in Oschersleben. Donington Park has been a regular venue for the Sidecar World Championship since its return to the calendar in 2014, and this season stages the prestigious season finale. With a late retirement for Schlosser and Hoffer in Germany, the chase for the title drops from 3 competitors to 2 outfits with mathematical hopes of the crown. Reeves and Kloos are the team with the work to do, with a massive 23 points to make up in Donington, but they're also favourites to take their home ground after 3 victories in 4 races and having already recovered 19 points since the season's midway point.
Unfortunately, we had a breakdown in Hungary, so that probably ruined their chances. Being with very little races, you can't afford to have a breakdown. So, yeah, no, we're going to go out and try and win, and that's all we can do. And we don't want to wish Pekka breaks down, but obviously, if he breaks down, that's the only option for us to win. And we want to win as much as he does, but realistically, we can only try and win the race and see what happens.
2016's 2 lead riders, Tim Reeves and Pekka Pijverinter, have shared 9 of the last 11 World Championships between them. But this season, the odds are stacked in favour of Pijverinter. With just 3 points needed to secure the crown, he looks set to take a 5th world title, a first alongside Kirsi Kynerleinen. Of course, I've been champion many times, but my sponsors, Kirsi and Kirsi's sponsors, are waiting at home in Finland for this result. Reeves has a very strong team and it will be a good fight with him. This race will be very different because we only need 3 points to be world champions. We're a little bit nervous about technical problems, but we've spent many hours working and checking the bike. We will just have to hope that everything goes well.
Koitetaan vaan tehdä parhaamme niin kuin ennenkin.
F2's top qualifiers, Ben and Tom Birchall, lead the third row of the grid with a 4-place buffer over Grabmuller and Kirchhofer, and directly ahead of impressive qualifiers Gray and Christie, who sit 6th. Delannoy and Russo, one of only 2 teams to have scored at every race this season, occupying the second row with Holden and Ramsey. A second ahead on the front row of the grid, Päivärinta and Kainalainen, clear of the traffic behind them, perfectly placed for a clean run to turn 1. Reeves and Clues, the pole sitters, for only the second time in 2016, as they cross their fingers for a miracle. 2 seconds separated the top 4 on the grid in qualifying. The 2 championship challengers significantly faster than rivals behind. No Schlosser and Hoffer on the grid, and that decides the bronze medal in favour of Delannoy and Russo, who sit 3rd. A season's best qualifying for Gray and Christie in 6th, narrowly ahead of Streuer and Dalhusen. 16 runners for the final round of the 2016 season. 15 championship deciding laps in Donington are underway. Delannoy and Russo away well from 3rd. Gray and Christie with a good start, sprinting clear of Ben and Tom Birchall in 5th. Streuer and Dalhusen also challenging on the inside as the F2 outfits go backwards off the line. The Birchalls powering around the outside of turn 1 but squirm on the exit, and the number 1 makes the pass for 6th position. Rocher and Burkhardt up to 7th now, having passed Ben and Tom Birchall through Hollywood. The F2 outfit typically taking longer to get up to speed. It is going to be a big dive down the inside into the old hairpin, and the number 16 outfit wasting no time in recovering their position. Up to 6th with Gray and Christie next in sight. Great qualifying for the number 17 LCR Yamaha, and now they're running up in 5th, 6th position. Their previous best finish this campaign. Brian Gray, the veteran who celebrated his 66th birthday last week. Sam Christie, his relatively inexperienced passenger, both local to Donington Park and enjoying a strong home race weekend. Battles lower down the order then, but the status quo is maintained out in front. The top 4 running through the opening lap in grid order. Päivärinta not really bold enough to try a pass into the first turn, knowing the championship is on the line. Second place more than good enough for him. Holden and Ramsey have had a couple of nibbles on Delannoy and Russo, but nothing really substantial. The front 5 have broken away slightly now, but Ben and Tom Birchall in an isolated 6th, starting to pull away from the group behind them as well. Päivärinta and Kainalainen have safely negotiated the opening lap, and that's the first hurdle surmounted for them. A clean race their target for the championship, with only a race finish required. Reeves and Clues lead by just under a second then from Päivärinta and Kainalainen. Delannoy and Russo half a second back coming down the start-finish straight. Ben and Tom Birchall oscillating between Gray and Christie ahead and Streuer and Dalhusen behind. The number 1 outfit visibly faster in the straights, not quite close enough to make a pass into turn 1 this time around. The 2016 F2 champions gaining on the twisty northern side of the circuit, just 0.3 of a second behind Gray and Christie at the end of lap 1. Ben and Tom Birchall once again doing a fine job of mixing it with the World Championship teams in 2016. And having taken the F2 World Trophy with 2 races to spare, they're the spoilers this weekend. The number 17 holding the inside line well for now, though. Once the outfits come off Coppice and into the 3rd sector, that's where things start to become more difficult for the 600cc outfits, with 2 main straights to negotiate here in Donington. Ben and Tom Birchall then pursuing in the race for 5th. Know they need to get the job done before the start-finish straight, or risk another lap stuck behind the number 17 outfit. Gray and Christie did indeed pull out a couple of bike lengths into the foggy S's, but Ben and Tom Birchall eating that straight back up. And we'll have a look down the inside towards the Melbourne hairpin. Gray and Christie then covering the racing line. Ben and Tom Birchall, a deft cut to the inside to force their way alongside. A great ride from the former world champions to block the racing line. Gray and Christie aren't done just yet. Faster down the straight, making the switch back with the inside ground coming into Goddard's. Ben and Tom Birchall swing their way across to the apex to retake the position. Gray and Christie were 5 miles an hour quicker than Ben and Tom Birchall on the Wheatcross straight in qualifying, and duly show that turn of pace entering lap 4. The Birchalls making the cut back to the inside line. Sensational action between these 2 outfits. A half dozen position changes between them already. But the number 16 now leads through their strongest part of the circuit and have an opportunity to build a gap over their 1000cc rival. In fact, Streuer and Dalhusen are putting themselves back into attack position, and Gray and Christie forced to go defensive once again, enabling Ben and Tom Birchall to build a buffer. Back out the front, a 1.3 second lead for Reeves and Clues, ahead of Piper-Inter and Kainalainen. Unable to really shake Delanois and Russo, who've been half a second behind them since the end of lap 1. The front three breaking well clear of Holden and Ramsey, who now trail by 5 seconds in an isolated 4th position. A sizable margin to the three-way battle for 5th, led by Ben and Tom Birchall. Delanois and Russo certainly keeping up a good pursuit of Piper-Inter and Kainalainen, who can't really afford to get into a fight for 2nd when they only need to finish. The Frenchmen hoping that by putting pressure on the Finns, the championship favourites won't be too eager to put up a resistance. They haven't really been close enough so far this lap, although they will have a look down the inside into the final hairpin. That's closed down quickly by Piper-Inter and Kainalainen, so no change from the grid in the top 4 positions. Reeves and Clues making their typical lap 1 break and now managing the gap. Delanois and Russo still trying to move around on the back of Piper-Inter and Kainalainen, but no gap is forthcoming. Having cleared Gray and Christie last lap, Stroyer and Dalhusen are now right on the back of Ben and Tom Birchall. The number 1 outfit closing down the Wheatcroft straight, blast down the inside. The Birchalls with no answer against the 1000cc outfit. A change of position as well for 7th. Gray and Christie continuing to fall back after their strong start, and now behind the recovering Rocher and Burkhardt as Ben and Tom Birchall attack and recover their 5th position down the inside into the old hairpin. That LCR Honda has been involved in all of the action so far here today, and another exemplary inside pass sees them lead the reigning world champions once again. Grabmuller and Kirchhofer sitting 2nd to the Birchalls in F2, currently 9th on track, well clear of the rest of the field. This would be enough for them to secure 2nd in the world overall as they carry a 6-point advantage into the final round of the campaign. And Bachmeier and Weschelberger, their rivals, are currently last of the 16 runners, over 30 seconds behind them. Here is that race for 14th, led by Rossinger and Werner, 3rd in the F2 class. Bachmeier and Weschelberger have actually now got ahead of Gallern and Dealey, out of last place and ready to challenge Rossinger and Werner for a place on the F2 podium. Less than half a second between them and the number 22. Half a second quicker last lap around, so a good race developing in the lower reaches of the fields. No change at the front as we pass the half race distance. Reeves and Clues and Piper-Inter and Kainalainen lapped within 1/10 of one another last lap around, so the gap is still static at a fraction under a second, and the pace still very strong at the front. No issues with tyre wear so far. Reeves and Clues just 2/10 from the fastest lap of the race on lap 7. Delanois and Russo still look faster than Piper-Inter and Kainalainen. Fastest of the front 3 last lap. Would be really interesting to see what they could do against Reeves and Clues if they were released from behind the Finns. Delanois and Russo yet to win a race in this 2016 campaign. Back with Grabmuller and Kirchhofer in 9th, and they've hit problems. The bike just letting go at the back end of the lap. This could be pivotal in deciding the silver medal in the F2 World Trophy. A 30-second advantage quickly evaporating for the number 97.
Fire! Fire!
Real devastation for Grabmuller and Kirchhofer on the service road and out of the running. Any type of race finish could have been enough for them to secure 2nd in the World Trophy, but that sounded like a simple engine failure, and there's no way back onto the track from that. Seemingly game over for the 97, with signs of fire, smoke coming from the machine, and marshals on the scene with fire extinguishers. The Austrians' hopes of a silver medal extinguished with their engine. That's a 3rd retirement of the 2016 season. Back with the front runners, still Reeves and Clues leading Piper-Inter and Kainalainen. Delanois and Russo repeating their move into Goddard's, but it's blocked at each attempt. It's going to take something special for the Frenchmen to get through. They've been pegged to the back of the championship leaders since lap number 1. 0.4 of a second, the gap at the end of lap 8. Delanois and Russo, the fastest of this leading breakaway trio for 2 laps in succession now. No danger behind them. Holden and Ramsey over 10 seconds back. The podium positions here in Donington look decided, barring accidents or mechanical failures, which are exactly what Päivärinta and Kainalainen are so eager to avoid. The race still ongoing for fifth. Once again, Stroyer and Dalhusen firing past on the Wheatcroft straight. Ben and Tom Birchall making their well-practiced switch back to the inside into turn one. The Birchalls really have had to defend frantically since lap 5, playing their cards perfectly, just as Stroyer and Dalhusen swept across to claim the racing line. Ben and Tom Birchall using their superior grip to jink right and back to the inside. Great stuff once again in the minor places. And one senses this battle is still not over. All for personal pride, of course, because the two outfits are in different categories. And Ben and Tom Birchall already have their 2016 ranking secured. Stroyer and Dalhusen sit over 4 seconds ahead of their main championship rivals Rocha and Burkhardt. Meanwhile, back to the lower reaches of the field, Bachmeier and Weschelberger have overhauled Rossinger and Werner for third in the F2 class and are now about to be lapped by the race leaders. Reeves and Clues whipping past Gallen and Dealey, the last of the runners in 15th. This really is the best opportunity for Delannoy and Russo to try a pass on Päivärinta and Kainalainen. The Finns having to be cautious through the back markers. Considering their championship position, they can't afford to get mixed up in any incidents. Won't be as concerned about defending their position as they are about finishing this race. Still 0.3 of a second, the gap between second and third, as Reeves and Clues become the first outfit to put a lap on Rossinger and Werner in 14th. The orange liveried number 60 moving nicely out of the way, so that's one down for Päivärinta and Kainalainen. Will be nervous at this stage of the race, the championship within their grasp. Down to the old hairpin, Reeves and Clues breezing past Bachmeier and Weschelberger. The yellow liveried number 20 now needing only a race finish to guarantee silver medal in the F2 World Trophy. Päivärinta and Kainalainen catching the Austrians at just the wrong moment there past Starkey's Bridge, and Bachmeier and Weschelberger again turning into the apex of McLean's with the Finns just forced to back out of it. This is costing them bundles of time. On Reeves and Clues and Delannoy and Russo were almost alongside there as they thundered down to Coppice. Both outfits are now safely through, but that was a tough break for Päivärinta and Kainalainen, who could do without being held up by traffic in such a high-pressure scenario in the latter stages of this 2016 campaign. Reeves and Clues have now broken clear, cutting their way through traffic far quicker than the two outfits behind them. But Päivärinta and Kainalainen have consolidated their position well, despite a couple of cautious bends, trying to find their way safely past Bachmeier and Weschelberger, who do have their own series to think about in fairness. Delannoy and Russo failing to capitalise on what was probably their best chance to make a pass. Really needed to go offline and try and find something different, while Päivärinta and Kainalainen were held back. Instead, they sat line astern and now look set for third position. Into the final lap, the focus is on Pekka Päivärinta. Finland's first ever sidecar world champion back in 2008, bidding for his 5th world title. Just over 2 miles now to the finish. He only needs to pass the checkered flag to seal the title. Delannoy and Russo keeping up their pursuit, but they've been held back since lap 1 and nothing really looks set to change on the final lap here. Another solid drive from the Frenchman. It's going to be another race victory for Reeves and Clues. They've been unstoppable in the second half of this campaign, but Päivärinta and Kainalainen have been consistent, strong podium finishers at every race and are on their way to their reward. The number 56 of Ruts and Fries behind Reeves and Clues having dropped a lap down, and Päivärinta and Kainalainen may well encounter them before the finish, with caution, I'm sure. The final hurdle of this campaign. Päivärinta and Kainalainen sticking to the left coming down off turn 8. No way down the inside for Delannoy and Russo, who'll be trapped coming down to the S's for the final time. It's been a defensive ride from Päivärinta and Kainalainen, and a good one. Even if they could have made the decision to let their rivals go in the early stages and still take the crown. The number 44 catching Ruts and Fries into the Melbourne hairpin. Oh, they almost touched. Steady on, Pekka. Just turn 12 to go. Päivärinta and Kainalainen on the tail of Ruts and Fries, then down the inside of the back marker. No way through for Delannoy and Russo, with the inside line covered off carefully throughout the lap. And it's title number 5 for Pekka Päivärinta, a first with passenger Kirsi Kainalainen, and after a near miss in 2015, it's back to the top for the number 44. Ben and Tom Birchall will come home in 5th to take the top spot in F2. Rocha and Burkhardt behind them after passing Stroyer and Dalhusen on the penultimate lap. It's been a great season for the Birchalls, now handily placed ahead of the 600cc World Championship in 2017. Reeves and Clues did what they could to put the pressure on Päivärinta and Kainalainen in the closing weeks of the campaign. But the Finns' unbroken sequence of podium finishes gives them the crown in the end by an 18-point margin. After becoming the first ever female medalist in 2015, Kirsi Kainalainen becomes the first ever female world champion. The top 8 finish on the lead lap, but other than the top 3, all finish with sizable gaps between them. A strong finish for Guignard and Poe with 10th in the race and another 20 points in the F2 World Trophy. Ben and Tom Birchall complete a clean sweep of victories in the 600cc category to round out the season. A 99-point winning margin for the Birchall Racing Honda, which was really untroubled all season. Cruel misfortune for Grabmuller and Kirchhofer, but they take the third step on the podium.
Fantastic. It's the end to a great year, and to do it at Donington and be presented with our World Championship medal here, it's our own race and very close to our town, and I just want to thank everybody that's been behind us all year, our sponsors and friends and family, and yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Ben and Tom Birchall become only the second different winners of the F2 World Trophy. The top 3 outfits in the championship broke well clear into their private battle for the podium in Donington. A good ride from Holden and Ramsey in 4th, with Rocha and Burkhardt making gradual progress through the race for 5th. A 5th victory of the season for Reeves and Clues, but even with a brilliant close to the campaign and 4 victories in 5 races, it's not enough to take the title.
Sebastian's win, and his home race, the race winner, Tim Reeves and Gregory Clues.
A race finish was all that Päivärinta and Kainalainen needed to secure the title, but with a 6th runner-up position of the season, they did enough to record an 18-point winning margin. Despite defeat at the hands of Rocha and Burkhardt in the final round, Stroyer and Kurtz do enough to hold on for 5th in the championship. This is a very big thing for me, absolutely amazing. This has always been my dream, and now this dream is a reality. Of course, this season has been hard, but I enjoyed it, and now this medal is mine. I'm very happy.
Kaikille sponsoreille, BMWlle, ystäville, tukijoille.
Pekka Päivärinta secures his first World Championship since the 2013 season and the retirement of Adolf Hani. It's been a long but successful journey back to the top with Kirsi Kainalainen as the pair take the last FIM gold medal of the 1000cc era.